Hello! Welcome to Squid Essays. Inking your academic pen. My name is Julie and I will be your instructor as we read through the nature of the EU. The article source is embedded in the video description below. Feel free to read along. Please note that you can get a custom, plagiarism-free essay for as little as $10 a page at Squid Essays. The link is in the description. The term European Union, EU, is known to every single informed individual. Due to the last activity of this formation, it is very hard to underestimate its importance as it plays the leading role in all decision-making in Europe. The fact that EU is the European Economic and Political Community consisting of 27 countries is the first key factor explaining the nature of the EU, primarily because it reveals the attempt of Europe to establish a political and economic uniform system for better self-positioning in international relations. EU has three foundations: European communities, common security policy within these communities, and of course police and judicial collaboration to make Europe a safe place. It has a solid law system applying to each and every single member country. It may be said that its primary goal was the creation of a single market, and the appearance of euro is the best proof. The Schengen Agreement gives EU citizens the possibility to cross the borders of the EU countries without a visa. The existence of such economic and political community gave birth to the European Commission, the Council, the Parliament, the Court of Justice and the Central Bank of the European Union. Basically, together all the small members of the EU have formed a strong political and economic force which protects them from each other and the rest of the world. The United Nations, UN, is also a union of countries as EU, but on international level and with a higher position. General objectives and issues of the EU bear resemblance to the objectives of UN. The United Nations, like the European Union, was created as a facilitator of political, economic and social relations within a given set of countries. The basic difference is that UN carries out these issues internationally and is primarily, in contrast to EU, focused on peacemaking and not on trade. Therefore its laws and securities apply to 192 countries of the world and therefore possess an international character. One might say that the United Nations is the child of war, the post-war reaction of the world to the WWII. The world did not want this to happen again, and the United Nations became the platform and to guarantee that peace will be maintained within the members. Both EU and UN have political and economic uniform systems. The UN, the same way as the European Union, has a court, security, social and economic councils. In spite of these similarities, the United Nations has more to do with human rights and international security. It takes care of the well-being of the people suffering from aggression and provides financial help to indigent countries. Therefore, the idea of unity on base of one common goal is among one of the most coinciding objectives of the EU and the UN. Correspondingly, the objectives and the issues of these two organizations may be compared in this direction only. The European Union solves local political, economic, and security problems but is dominantly concentrated on trade patterns. The United Nations solves international political, economic and security problems with a focus on being the human, peace security resource. The EU's most known resolution is the Schengen Agreement, and the UN signed the United Nations Millennium Declaration dealing with eliminations of poverty, child mortality, hunger, provide education, security, and other vital issues. It is obvious that the EU and the UN have different mass. The United Nations represents the interests of the world while the European Union represents mainly economic interests of 27 countries. In terms of comparative politics, the analysis of these two cases reveals the dependent and independent variables. Both of the organizations are important for the foreign international relations. Nevertheless, the United Nations has a more global character as compared to the European Union. The comparison of these two formations completely fits Mill's method of difference. According to it, the fact that the EU and the UN are both organized unions of a set of countries with common goals leads to the conclusions that they have one objective foundation. This objective foundation is the independent variable, and the difference of some issues, and the general direction of work, are dependent variables. The politics of Europe is totally reflected in the objectives of the European Union, and in its turn the European Union is a very important formation. The United Nations in its turn is an example of a global organization with global objectives. Therefore this topic relates to comparative politics in the most evident way. Bibliography 1. Craig Paul. Green de Burka, 2007. EU Law, Text, Cases, and Materials. Oxford, New York, Oxford University Press, 2. Steiner, Josephine, Lorna Woods, Christian Twig Flessner, 2006. EU Law. Oxford, New York, Oxford University Press. 3. Barnard, Catherine, 2007. The Substantive Law of the EU, The Four Freedoms. Oxford, New York, Oxford University Press. 4. United Nations, Divided World, The Union's Roles in International Relations, edited by Adam Roberts and Benedict Kingsbury, Oxford University Press. 2nd edition. Thank you for taking your time to listen to me. I hope you enjoyed learning about the nature of the EU as much as I did. Kindly remember that you can get a custom, plagiarism-free essay at Squid Essays for as little as $10. The link is in the description. See you next time.